Welcome back, everybody. I am reading my book, Truth Behind Who I Am. You can get this book on Amazon, Barnes& Noble Press. If you want to buy the book, it's there. If you want to donate to me, you can go to Cash App, and my handle is $Mr. Ferguson 2. Let's keep going. Mama, Tristan burned himself. My mom yelled out, "What happened?" My granny Jean yelled. He pulled up on the heater in the bathroom and burnt both his hands. In a panic, my granny and my mom rushed to the hospital to get his hands treated. I saw what happened. He was trying to get up and burnt his hands on the little white gas heater in the bathroom. But I didn't do nothing this time to him. I promise. That was when I started to take it easy and love him. I started to learn how to be a big brother. Who is my daddy? If Chucky is not my daddy, then who is? All this time I thought this guy was my dad. Now you're telling me it's someone else and I gotta get my mouth swabbed? Why? Torrie, your daddy doesn't think you are his. Who is my daddy? I asked. That guy right there. 99.99% says you are Mickey's son. You will have to go with him for these particular days for the next 10 years. That's how it seemed like it went when I met my dad, Mickey, not knowing who this guy was and now having to spend time with him, his wife, and 3 kids for 10 years. And this lady says she will whoop my ass if she ever met me. Well, that's what was told to me before meeting her. I was so scared the first time having to be around them. My dad planned to take us to the circus, but before we could even go, my dad and his wife got into an argument and I started crying, wanting to go back home, and my dad took me back. It was overwhelming for me now seeing I had not only Chris, but my baby brother JJ, then my stepsister from my dad's wife that was the same age as me. I have a big brother and 2 little brothers and a stepsister now. When my daddy dropped me off, I told my mom everything. I would gradually go back around years later, but that was after finding out my dad was divorced. Sexuality, school, and bullying. Coming back from Lansing to Dallas, I went back to Roger Q. Mills. The first day I went to school, I was still in the 1st grade, and my teacher, Miss Jinsky, wanted me to show and tell my experience about when I left. I showed the class my memory book of all the friends I made with my classmates at Marble. I don't feel I was bullied much in school, though talk was going around about me. This girl told everybody in the cafeteria as we were standing in line I had a crush on this boy named Jackie, but honestly, I don't think nobody was paying attention or even cared. In the 2nd grade, this guy, Bryson, pulled down my pants in front of everybody after lunch as we were lining up waiting for our teachers to get us. I felt so embarrassed. I went to the assistant principal on him. My 3rd grade year was my favorite year because I had Miss Harris, tall, slender, white lady with short, curly brown hair. I loved being in her class. That's probably the only time I exceeded grade-wise. 4th grade, I had Mr. Cooper. And we were hanging in there. Didn't learn much at all. He was barely there. That's when I was first disciplined by another teacher. We were talking loud as a class one day, and the teacher next door was having to come over and quiet us down. She said, if I have to come back, I'm lining every one of you up and giving you paddles. We kept talking. She came back and lined us up in the hallway and gave us all a lick on the hand with a plastic ruler. I told my mom on her, and she came and showed out. This was the time my crew was formed, Vincent and LD. LD, we were in kindergarten together, and Vincent, we were in third grade, I believe. But we had the same class together, and I loved them so much. Whoever had a problem with me had a problem with them. Some guys was talking bad about me, picking on me in class, calling me gay, and LD actually fought him for me in front of everybody. I never forget that. Sonya was my first real girl crush. She was a Hispanic girl. We met in kindergarten. From then on, we had every class together. In the fourth grade, she went to a different class, and that's when I met Paula. Paula was a black girl, new to school and in my class. I liked her, and I thought she liked me, but LD was feeling her too. Me and Paula didn't date though. We were just cool by then. I knew the gayness in me was there and was not going anywhere, but I really thought Paula was pretty. As a kid, I used to love the Power Rangers. I would have my mom take me to McDonald's to get all the toys. Across the street from the house at Harlandale were my twin friends, Jose and Armando. We would play Power Rangers. I was the pink or the yellow one. And kickball and played kickball in the street. Other neighbor kids would come and play sometimes. There was this one guy, Willie. He thought he was a bad boy, had a crew of boys he would hang with. My great-grandparents have a small field next to the house. Behind it is an alley. I was playing in the field and Willie and his crew came from the alley. He had a stick in his hand, and told me to give him the ball. I said no, and he hit me across my legs with the stick. I yelled so loud they ran, and I tried to run back in the house. My family was not having that. They told me to go back and fight him. As scared as I was, that was the furthest thing on my mind. Luckily, nobody could find them, and that made me happy. Fifth grade was the grade I joined the band at Mills. Mr. Stevens was my band director. He trained me to play the clarinet, and in a green box case, there was my baby, my instrument. Being in that classroom, learning to read and play music, I didn't want to leave. Mr. Stevens was a tall white guy, but he had a great ear for music. We got to play at a middle school with their band, the elementary band I was in. It was really cool to be among other older musicians. I had found what I wanted to do as long as I could. 3 times the Trump. Travis was born September 1995, the last of the Ferguson boys. I was a big brother for the second time, and this time I was getting the hang of it. My mom had 3 boys, all different biological fathers. All had the same first, middle, last initials. We grew up like regular kids with her. She loved to dress us all alike, even though we weren't twins. Travis was a mama's baby. Tristan was my grandparents' baby, and I was Granny Jean's. By this time, Jean had converted her front sewing room into my own room. My mom had Section 8 and moved out my granny's house to the West Dallas projects. Tristan was about 3. I also stayed with my mom too, and my grandparents were living there as well in their own room. My mom started dating this guy named Moody. He was kin to the people who lived next door. They later broke up. The projects in Dallas, in West Dallas, looked like townhouses in the inside, depending on how you lived and decorated. It could have been really nice. They used to have this truck come, and we kids would get cool cups, a white styrofoam cup with frozen Kool-Aid in it, and us kids would bite off the top of the cup to eat it down. There was a candy lady that sold candy out of her apartment. She had little pieces of candy for 10 cents. My mom used to tear them up. I used to sleep at the foot of my mom's bed in a cot bed. One night I was sleeping and heard moaning. It was my mama getting her groove on. I got up and ran out the room crying in my grandparents' room. I didn't know how to handle that situation as young as I was. I stayed with my mom's for the weekend, then back to Harlandale with Jean because of school. My birthday was coming up in January of 1996, and I would be in the 6th grade. I wanted to have a birthday party. We lived next door to this lady, Moody's cousin named Tammy, and her daughter Taisha, who was older than me, but we had the same birthday. She had 2 older friends that stayed in the same apartments, and we all started hanging out. They loved the singer group Immature, and each of them would claim they went with each member of the group. When Immature came to Dallas at the Bronco Bowl, I was so jealous I couldn't go. Taisha said she would convince my mom to have us a birthday party together, so we did at my mom's house. After the party, I don't think my mama would ever want to throw another one again. Looked like every teenager from the projects was there, and the lights were red, and you could see people slow grinding and air humping. My mom had clown faces on her wall. They broke them. All in all, it was okay. I started growing up. I wasn't a kid anymore. I was becoming a teenager now.
Ooh, let it cool off. Get back to this money, about to take off. I'ma start, it's time that I shine. Grinding, hustling, straight, getting mine. Taking action, no distractions. About to get mine. Because I'm hot, so I can't control myself.